Okay, in this session, we're going to continue the Jubilee in the ministry of Jesus Christ. First case was the rich young ruler. He rejected the offer of Jesus Christ because he had great wealth. He had a lot of land. He didn't want to give up the land to follow Jesus Christ. But in the second case, Zacchaeus, the case of Zacchaeus is exactly the opposite case of young rich ruler. Let's go to Luke chapter 19, verses 8 and 9. Luke 19, verses 8 and 9. But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, "Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount." Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost." The story of Zacchaeus demonstrates very effectively how Jesus Christ has fulfilled Jubilee. In this story, actually, there's no reference of the word of Jubilee or land, but it implies or it contains the principle or the mind of Jubilee. Just as the young rich ruler, Zacchaeus also had a lot of wealth, but the way they got great wealth was different. Young rich ruler got the big land, his katamata land, his wealth, from his ancestors. But Zacchaeus got his wealth by collecting tax. At the time, in the time of Zacchaeus, in the New Testament time, the people of Israel, people in Palestine, need to pay tax to Roman government. In the course of collecting tax actually is usually like head tax collector like Zacchaeus got great wealth. Even in the time of Nehemiah, there was such a similar case. People became poorer and poorer, but they still had to pay taxes. That's why their sons and daughters became slaves. The rich people got accumulate wealth by loan sharking. Loan sharking? Loan sharking means that you lend money then with high interest rate. It's called loan sharking. So actually, it is prohibited in the Bible. But the rich people were really, really, law breakers. So therefore, they did whatever they want to do to get great wealth. So in the time of Zacchaeus, also such a case, a similar case happened. But Zacchaeus, as soon as he heard the gospel of Jesus Christ, he repented. And then he realized that collecting great money or accumulating money, wealth, by collecting extra money, extra tax, That's why he said, verse 8, "Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor." Half of his possessions to the poor. It means he's gonna return his wealth to the poor because he took the money from the poor people. And plus, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I'll pay back 4 times the amount. He's gonna pay back 4 times the amount. Yeah, the poor people means the farming peasant or farming slaves in the time of Roman Empire. They were still oppressed. They were still pushed to pay high taxes. But Zacchaeus wanted to return his money to the poor people because he realized that he had cheated the poor people. This way, Zacchaeus realized the mind or principle of Jubilee. That's why, therefore, we see that in the ministry of Jesus Christ, Jubilee is accomplished. Jubilee is fulfilled. Jesus proclaimed that, verse 9, "Today salvation has come to this house because this man too is a son of Abraham." Wow. Keeping Jubilee is the criterion of getting salvation from Jesus Christ. Was very important. Okay, what about the Jubilee? Jubilee in the ministry of the disciples of Jesus Christ. First one, we see the case of Church of Jerusalem. Church of Jerusalem. As you know, Jerusalem church was abundant in koinonia, and diaconia. Koinonia means is translated into fellowship. Diaconia, service. And this is fellowship. By the Church of Jerusalem, Jubilee is accomplished, is fulfilled. Let's go to Acts chapter 2, verse 45. Acts chapter 2, verse 45. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Wow. They sold property and possessions. What is possession? In Leviticus chapter 25, it is land, ahutza. Okay, another verse. Chapter 4, Acts chapter 4, 34, 35. Acts chapter 4, verses 34, 35. That there were no needy persons among them, for from time to time those who owned land or houses sold them, brought the money from the sales, and put it at the apostles' feet, and it was distributed to anyone who had needed. Okay, Bible verse. Acts chapter 2, verse 45, and Acts chapter 4, verses 34 and 35. Okay? So, verse 20, chapter 2, verse 45, the word possession means ktemata, right? This is ahutza in the Old Testament. It means land. By the coming of the Holy Spirit on Pentecost, the disciples of Jesus Christ totally changed it. And that's why they do not think that their land, their house, is not their own. But they felt that they need to share it with the poor people in their church. Though the land or houses were earned by buying it, by purchasing, but they felt that by the Holy Spirit, they totally changed it, and they felt that having great wealth is sinful. It breaks the law of Jubilee. That's why they strongly felt that they need to sell it, and from the money, and they get money from it, and then distribute the money in church for the poor people. Yes, that's why the poor people in the Church of Jerusalem could get out of their poverty. Wow, isn't it amazing? This is the Jubilee ministry in the disciple. How about in the case of Paul? In the case of Paul, Jubilee in Paul's ministry. Romans chapter 15, verses 25 and 26. Let's go. Now, however, I'm on my way to Jerusalem in the service of the Lord's people there. For Macedonia and Achaia were pleased to make a contribution for the poor among the Lord's people in Jerusalem. Macedonia is North Greece and Achaia is South Greece. They are Gentile churches. But still, they were concerned about the Church of Jerusalem. Actually, they don't know each other. But Paul talked about the Church of Jerusalem because the Church of Jerusalem was kind of poor. And at the time, so by hearing this, the churches in Macedonia and Achaia made a decision to collect money to distribute, to send it to the Church of Jerusalem. Probably Paul preached about Jubilee and Jubilee in the ministry of Jesus Christ. That's why from time to time he referred that he collect money from Gentile area for the Church of Jerusalem. Wow, isn't it amazing? The Gentile church helped and contribute their money to the Church of Jerusalem. This is a best example of fulfilling the mind or principle of Jubilee. So Jubilee is not obligated, but it is fulfilled in Jesus Christ and in his disciple. Therefore, we also need to practice it. We have to learn it and we have to practice it. Then now, how can we application? How can we do? BAM, Jubilee. How can we apply Jubilee into our ministry, future ministry, in BAM ministry? First one, BAM business as ministry. BAM business must be Goel in mission field. BAM business. So we need to start our own business, BAM business, and then this business must be Goel in the mission field in our area. Because in our mission field, there are so many poor people who need help. That's why, as Goel, as Redeemer, BAM business need to help them, need to give them job so that they can work for their lifetime, so that they can restore, so that they can get out of their poverty. And doing this way, right, we can imitate Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ was Goel. Therefore, BAM business must become Goel for the people in mission field. Second one, BAM business belong to God. In other words, BAM business is God's possession. God's possession. Right? Possession means land. In Hebrew it is ahucha. BAM business is God's ahucha, God's possession. It belongs to God. It cannot belong to anyone, any individual person. It cannot belong to any church. It must thoroughly belong to God. 3. Number 3. BAM business must produce Goel. Redeemer. Okay? Produce and reproduce. We need to continue to, BAM business has to continue to produce Goel, so that they can help and they can support other poor people. Not only this BAM business, but also the people, workers in the BAM business can be Goel, and so that each and every one of them can be Goel to the people in mission field, so that they can continue to teach Jubilee, teach job, education, and by doing this, they can establish their life. Fourth, BAM business must become Jubilee community. Yes, BAM business must become Jubilee community. The principle of Jubilee must be applied in BAM business. So they must thoroughly apply the concept of Sabbath, concept of the year of release, which is Sabbath year. Of course, a little bit different, not directly, but in principle, we need to apply it. And also, we need to apply the concept of freedom and liberation. And also, we need to establish the concept of social welfare in business, BAM business. Through doing these things, through applying Jubilee idea in BAM business, we can establish Tzedakah, Mishpat, and Tzedakah, and Hesed of God. Thank you very much. Our BAM class theological background of BAM is up to here. Our next class subject will be Proverbs, the book of Proverbs. Thank you very much.